Movies are never finished. They are abandoned. A movie is never finished. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Sharon Ann here. Allow me the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm a 5K walker. I love lap swimming as it's great exercise. I like to write poetry, mostly about nature, spirituality, and my life overseas. Anyway, I wanted to come on today asking you, have you ever looked at the patterns of movies and realized there's always similarities in how movies wrap things up in the credits? For example, in movies with domestic violence in the picture, the credits start rolling when the child and mother leave to start a life of their own. In movies where someone is an alcoholic, the credits start rolling when the person gets involved in AA. In movies that focus upon children that have been kidnapped, the credits start rolling when the children are returned back to the true parents or guardians. Yet the truth is that even though the credits start rolling out, the movie is far from being finished. It's just that it's abandoned, left for us to determine the next chapter, the next adventure the actors in the movies will take part in. Will the mother in a domestic violence situation, who left to start a life of her own with her children, will she succeed in raising them, or will she return back to the abuse? Will the alcoholic who got into AA maintain their sobriety, or relapse and end up hurting themselves? Will the kidnapped child find equal balance between the real family and the family they grew up in? I know in my own life, I faced abandonment in my high school days, where I taught preschool ballet, tap, and jazz dancing. I was a dance teacher. Yup. I recall during recitals, most of my students had their parents attend events to offer them support and encouragement, yet I had no one, sad to say. I walked to the Civic Center, our elementary school, where the recital was. Wear that fake smile, you all know, the poker face, pretending all was okay. And when others ask where my family was, I say, they can't make it. They're running late, or they're stuck in traffic. Typical answers. I was always blessed at how one of the moms of my students would help me with my makeup, styling my hair, and offering me up encouragement. Talk about trusting somewhat of a complete stranger, per se. Well, she wasn't a complete stranger, but she was sort of a stranger, if that makes sense. I faced abandonment in my 20s when I first came out about my sexual abuse to my parents. I recall how my parents said, "It's all your fault. You asked for it. If you weren't so stupid, none of this would have happened." I recall my parents saying, "Lay everything out on the table now. We're not talking about this ever again." I faced abandonment when I was in college in Alabama. I had no friends, no family, no sense of comfort. I had to figure things out for myself. For example, if I got stuck in a snowstorm while driving, I had to figure out how to get myself out. If the car rolled down the hill, I had no one to come to my rescue. I learned quickly how to use a parking brake. Kind of funny looking back. I faced abandonment in 2014 when my cousin died as a direct result of not taking care of herself. The first week, people were there for me after her death. They prayed for me, offered me spiritual support and guidance. Then after a week, they all left in a blink of an eye, as if nothing happened. Friends, I don't share all of this to get a reaction from you, for you to feel sorry for me. I share all this to say, those who grew up with being abandoned by others are smart, brave, courageous, and either Superman or Supergirl in my eyes. I want others to know that you may have been abandoned in childhood, but your past doesn't have to define who you are. You have a bright future ahead of you, filled with many opportunities yet to take place. In closing, I want to ask you, how are you choosing to tell your story? How are you choosing to write the next chapter of your life going forward? Again, I want to ask you, how are you choosing to tell your story? How are you choosing to write the next chapter of your life going forward?